Welcome friends. Myself Professor S.R. Zagne, Assistant Professor of Agronomy at Sadguru College of Agriculture, Mirasgaon. Today we will discuss about new topic, that is organic nutrient resources and its fortification. In this new topic, firstly we will discuss about the enrichment of compost by using the microbial inoculant. In this topic, we will discuss in detail about what is the enrichment of compost and how the enrichment of the compost is done. Compost prepared by the traditional method is usually low in nutrient and there is need to improve its quality. That means the compost which is prepared by the traditional method that contains the low amount of the nutrient, and due to that we have to improve the quality of that compost. Enrichment of compost by using the low cost nitrogen fixing and phosphate solubilizing microbe is one of the possible way of improving the nutrient status of the product. Then that can be achieved by introducing the microbial inoculant, which are more efficient than the native strains that is associated with the substrate material. Enrichment of the compost, that is done by using some of the microbial inoculant, and these are more efficient than the native strain. Then both the nitrogen fixing and phosphate solubilizing microbes are more exacting in their physiological and ecological requirement, and it is difficult to meet these requirements under the natural conditions. The only alternative is to increase or to enhance their inoculum potential in the composting mass. In that case, one study which is conducted at IARI New Delhi, that means the Indian Indian Agricultural Research Institute at New Delhi, and that experiment which is showed that the inoculation with the azotobacter or the azospirillum and the phosphate solubilizing culture in presence of the 1% rock phosphate is a beneficial input to obtain the good quality compost that is rich in nitrogen. That is, the nitrogen content of that compost that will be increases up to 1.8%. Then the humus content was also higher in material that is treated with the microbial inoculants. This is about the enrichment of the compost by using some of the microbial inoculant. Then the next important topic, that is the organic manure, in which firstly we will discuss about the definition of the manure. So the manure is defined as it is a well decomposed plant and animal waste that are used as a sources of the plant nutrient. There are various types of the organic manures are there. Mainly the organic manure which is grouped into the two types. In that first type, that is the bulky organic manure, and second one is the concentrated organic manure. So in that firstly we will discuss in detail about the bulky organic manure. The farmyard manure, that means FYM, compost, night soil, sheep manure and green manure are the important examples of the bulky organic manure. So the definition of the bulky organic manure is they are more in quantity and they add the low amount of the NPK to the soil. That is called as a bulky organic manures. Then the second type of the organic manure, that is the concentrated organic manure, and some of the familiar examples of these concentrated organic manures, which includes the oil cakes, blood meal, bone meal, then fish manure, etc. These are the important concentrated organic manures. Then firstly we will discuss about the FYM or the farmyard manure. It refers to the decomposed mixture of dung and urine of the farm animals along with the litter and the leftover material from the roughages or the fodder fed to the cattle, that is known as the FYM or the farmyard manure. So basically this farmyard manure, which is the completely decomposed mixture of the dung and urine of the farm animal, and it also includes whatever the leftover material which is obtained from the roughages or the fodder fed to the cattle. On an average, the well decomposed farmyard manure or FYM, it contains 0.5% nitrogen, 0.25% P2O5 and 0.5% K2O. That means respectively it contains 0.5% nitrogen, 0.25% phosphorus and 0.5% potassium. Then the methods for the preparation of the FYM. So the FYM, which is prepared by using mainly the three methods. In that, first method is the pit method and trench method. Second one is the heap method and third one is the box method. Then another important source of the organic nutrient, that is green manuring. Firstly, we should know what is a green manure. So the green manure is defined as it is the green undecomposed plant material used as a manure, that is called as a green manure. Generally the green manure which is obtained in two ways. Firstly, by growing the green manure crops, or second one, that is the collecting the green leaf from the plants which is grown in the wasteland, field burn and the forest area. So in this way, basically the green manuring which is obtained by the two methods. Then the green manuring is defined as the practice of plowing or turning into the soil undecomposed green plant tissue for the purpose of improving the physical structure as well as the fertility of the soil. So mainly the important advantage of the green manuring crop, that is it helps to improve the physical structure as well as it increases the fertility status of the soil. And the green manuring is scientifically it is defined as the practice of plowing or the turning into the soil undecomposed green plant tissue for improving the physical structure as well as the soil fertility. It is called as a green manuring. Then the another important point, that is the characteristics of the good green manuring crops. While selecting the good green manuring crop, we have to consider some of the characteristics, and these characteristics which are enlisted as below. Then it should be yield a large quantity of a green material with a short period. That means that can produces the large quantity of the green manure material within a very short period of time. Then second character is it should be quick growing, especially in the beginning, so as to suppress the weed. That means at the initial stages of the growth, that should be quickly growing, and due to that it helps to suppress or reduces the weed growth. The selected green manuring crop, it should be a legume crop. Then it should be succulent and which having the more leafy growth. Then another important characteristics of the good green manuring crop, that is it is easy to incorporate, and last one, that is it is quickly decomposable. Then with some of the good characteristics of the green manuring crop, then this green manuring crop which having some of the advantages, and these advantages we have to see here. First advantage is it adds the organic matter to the soil and stimulate the activity of the microorganisms. Then another advantage, that is it improves the structure of the soil and thereby improving the water holding capacity of the soil, and it also helps to decreases the runoff erosion. Then another advantage is it improves the aeration in the rice soil by stimulating the activities of the surface film of the algae and the bacteria. Then it helps to fixes the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Then another advantage is it suppresses the growth of weeds. Then it takes the nutrient from the lower layer of the soil and adds to the upper layer in which it is incorporated. Then another advantage, that is many green manure crops which having the additional use as a sources of the food, feed and the fuel also. That means some of the crops with the green manuring crop, it also having the some of the advantages, that it is used for the source of the food material, feed for the animals and the fuel for it is also used for the fuel purpose. Then the certain green manures like the pongamia and the neem leaves which are having the insect control effect. That means these plants are used for the controlling of the various insect pests which are observed on the crop. Then these are the some of the advantages of the green manuring crop. Then these green manuring crops which also having the some of the disadvantage. Incidence of the pest and diseases may increases due to the application of this green manuring crop. Then loss of one crop. In case of the application of the green manuring crop, there is the loss of one crop may occur because whatever the nutrient which are added into the soil, they are slowly available to the crop. Due to that, there is the loss of one crop. That means the yield of the one crop that is get lower. Then the depletion of the moisture which affect the growth of the succeeding crop. Then due to the application of the green manuring crop, it adds the more amount of the organic matter, and due to that the water holding capacity of the soil is get increases, and due to that the depletion of moisture of the soil that affect the growth of the next crop or the crop grown in the next season. These are the some of the disadvantages of the green manuring crop. Then next important source of the organic nutrient, that is the vermicompost. In that, the vermiculture is the method of mass multiplication of the earthworm that is known as the vermiculture. This vermiculture, it is an excellent tool of organic farming which is helpful in maintaining the soil fertility status for the long time. Then the next one, that is the vermicompost. Vermicompost is nothing but the excreta of the earthworm which is rich in humus and the nutrient. Then vermicompost is a mixture of the worm casting, then organic material, humus, living earthworm, cocoons and the other organisms. Then depending upon the nature of the substrate, the vermicompost contains 2.5 to 3% of the nitrogen, 1 to 1.5% phosphorus and 1.5 to 2% of the potassium. Then the commonly used species for the vermiculture, that includes the Eisenia foetida and Eudrilus eugeni. The materials required for vermicomposting are cattle dung, then various agricultural waste, for example vegetable waste, sugarcane trash, etc. Then some of the plant product which are also used as a used for the preparation of the vermicompost. It includes first one, plant product examples are the sawdust and pulp, then various types of the leaf litter, then city refuse or the garbage, biogas slurry, industrial waste. Then vermicompost can be prepared by the pit heap method or in a concrete tank method. However, all the methods require the shade that is necessary for protecting the earthworm from the rain and the direct sunlight. Then the next important point, that is the advantages of the vermicompost. In that, first advantage is vermicompost is rich in all the essential plant nutrient. That means all the types of the nutrient which are present in this vermicompost. It includes the various the micro element, that means the micronutrient and the macronutrient also. Then vermicompost is free flowing, easy to apply, easy to handle and store, and does not have bad odor. That means it is easily applied to the field. Then it improves the soil structure, texture, aeration and water holding capacity of the soil, and it also prevents the soil erosion also. Then vermicompost is rich in the beneficial microflora such as the fixers as the phosphate solubilizers, then cellulose decomposing microflora. These are the some of the many beneficial microflora which are present in the vermicompost. Then the vermicompost contains the earthworm cocoons and increases the population as well as the activities of the earthworm in the soil, and after that it prevents the nutrient losses. The vermicompost is free from the pathogens, then toxic element, weed seeds, etc. Then vermicompost minimizes the incidence of the pest and diseases on the crop. That means the incidence or the intensity of the pest and diseases that is minimized after the application of the vermicompost into the field. Then next advantage is it increases the decomposition of the organic matter into the soil. Then it contains the valuable vitamins, enzymes and the hormones like the auxins as well as the gibberellins. That means all the types of the valuable ingredient which are present into the vermicompost, and that is important in the view of the plant growth and development. Then next important source of the organic nutrient, that is the biofertilizer. This term biofertilizer that refers to the preparations that containing the primarily the active strains of the microorganisms. Then they are ready to use live formulate of such microorganisms which on application to seed, root or soil fixes the atmospheric nitrogen or solubilize or mobilize the plant nutrient or otherwise that stimulate the plant growth substances. In other words, the biofertilizers are the living organisms or the bioinoculant which have got the capacity to convert the unavailable form of the plant nutrient to available form of the plant nutrient for the plant use. Then the important characteristics of the biofertilizer that includes first one, that is these groups are the self generating sources. These groups can be nutrient fixer, then nutrient solubilizer or the nutrient mobilizers. Then these organisms that secrete the hormone or the growth promoting substances for the better yield. Then secretion of the antibiotics by these organisms is utilized for the disease control. Then the use of these organisms reduces the environmental pollutions, as well as the another important characteristic of biofertilizer, that is these microorganisms are generally eco-friendly. That means they doesn't create any type of the pollution, and due to that it is called as the eco-friendly microorganism. So these are the some of the characteristics of the biofertilizer. Then the classification of the biofertilizer. So the biofertilizers are mainly classified into the three groups. First one is the nitrogen fixer, then second one is the phosphate solubilizer and the mobilizers, and third one is the compost accelerator and enrichers, in which the first type of the biofertilizer, that is the nitrogen fixers, in which there are two types of the nitrogen fixers are there. First one is the symbiotic nitrogen fixer and second one is the non-symbiotic nitrogen fixer. So firstly we will discuss about the symbiotic nitrogen fixation. These microbes that fixes the atmospheric nitrogen with the symbiotic association. For example, rhizobium. This rhizobium is a host specific and they fixes the nitrogen with the symbiotic association with the host plant. Then this rhizobium that is mainly recommended for the leguminous pulses and the oilseed crop. Then the second example of the symbiotic nitrogen fixer, that is the azolla. Example is the azolla and the Anabaena azole. Then that is the associative symbiotic nitrogen fixer. Example is the azospirillum. Then second group of the nitrogen fixer, that is the non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation, in which first example is the azotobacter and second one is the blue-green algae. Then the phosphate solubilizer and the mobilizers. These are mainly responsible for the conversion of the fixed form of the phosphorus to the available form. Then the phosphate solubilizing biofertilizer that includes the bacillus, then pseudomonas or the fungi such as the aspergillus or penicillium. Then the phosphate mobilizing biofertilizer that includes the fascicular arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi such as the blomes and the gigaspora. These are the examples of the Phae mycorrhiza fungi. Then the next important point, that is the advantages of the biofertilizer application. In that, first advantage is it is a low cost input for the crop production. Then it is a pollution free input. Then it is an energy conserving input in agriculture. Then it is helpful for quicker decomposition. Then it maintains the soil health without creating any environmental pollution. Then this input reduces the underground water pollution. Then it secretes some hormone and growth regulator. These are indirectly helpful for the higher crop production. Then plant nutrient that releases from the biofertilizer that is available to the plant slowly. And the last advantage of the biofertilizer application, that is it secretes the some antibiotic which reduces the crop diseases. In this way, these are the some of the advantages of the biofertilizer applications we have discussed here. In this way, in this new topic, we have discussed about what is the organic nutrient and what are the various sources of the organic nutrient, their characteristics, advantages and disadvantages also. Then one of the important point we have discussed here, that is the enrichment of the compost by using the microbial inoculant. So today we will stop here with the conclusion of the advantages of the biofertilizer application. Thank you.